Okay. Okay. Welcome. So, I'm Deborah Cohen, and we're going to start our yoga practice today with some breathing. But before we focus on the breath, we want to stretch a little bit and open our lungs. So we'll inhale and hold at the top, and then exhale, sigh through the mouth. Inhale, hold at the top. Exhale, sigh through the mouth. And one more time. Inhale, hold at the top. Exhale, sigh through the mouth. Good. And then just press your shoulders back and forward. So think of opening up your diaphragm. And we're going to sit and do some deep breathing. So think of our diaphragm stretching and opening here as we move the rib cage forward and back. Okay. Now take your ribs and go side to side. And then take the ribs and make a few circles and just notice how you're moving. Okay. Some of us feel really stiff in through this torso, especially if we have some back conditions. Like I have scoliosis. Some of us have herniated disc. There's many different alignment or spine conditions and neck conditions. Now, let's go ahead and feel your sit bones pressing down into the earth. And if you feel like your knees do not drop down below your hips, just sit up a little bit higher on a bolster. And then imagine there's a cord of energy at the very top of your head, pulling you up. And then there's a cord of energy at the base of your spine, pulling you down into the earth. So you get kind of that polarity of heaven and earth in your body. And you're not trying to be hard, but you are actually engaging core or spinal muscles to help support the length of your spine. Each vertebrae is lengthening. And just kind of squeeze your shoulders up as you inhale, and then roll them down and back as you exhale. Okay. Now take another inhale through the nose and sigh through the mouth. And then let your eyes soften and relax your jaw. Let your lips relax. Palms can place down at the thighs or up. So if you feel like you want a little more grounding, maybe palms down. If you want to feel like you're opening up more to the space around you, you can bring palms up, bringing more of an opening, outward opening, and palms down. It's usually symbolizing for inward, going inward. And so here, just start to notice your natural breath. We're going to just sit and breathe for a few minutes. Notice your natural inhale and exhale. And see if you feel any constriction or if you feel or it's easy. Sometimes just bringing awareness to the breath, just changing it, changes how you breathe. So see if you can not change how you breathe as you draw awareness to your breath. And then let's go ahead and start to manipulate the breath. We call it pranayama, controlling the energy that's flowing through us through the breath. So let's exhale fully and feel how the stomach contracts inward. And then inhale slowly, but not hard. Keep it simple. And just do that at your own pace and notice the core muscles involved just with breathing, with control. And slowing the breath down helps to slow the heart rate down. It's amazing. I actually heard it on myself when I did a fitness test. So slowing the breath down. but keeping the spine long. And then your lungs are three-dimensional. So as you breathe, feel the lungs expand through the front, through the back, through the sides, in through the middle. So think of both lungs blowing up at the same time like a balloon, slowly though. And then how's your mouth? So we want to put a gentle smile inside the mouth, maybe a little bit of a smile on the lips, softening in through the jaw. And there's space in the palate. And maybe the tip of the tongue rests on the hard palate, but not the back of your tongue. So the back of your tongue drops down as the tip of the tongue touches the back of the palate or the hard palate behind the front teeth. And feel the length of your neck. So sometimes sitting and breathing, you'll start to open up the energy that comes up through the center of the spine and you'll lengthen naturally. The body and the spine starts to correct itself. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. So what we're doing also is just by sitting and breathing, we are encouraging our lymph system to drain properly, which is beneficial to our immune system and opening lung capacity just by sitting and breathing is beneficial to our immune system. Good. Now we're going to relax and come up onto our hands and knees and try to stay with this breath centered focus in tabletop position. We'll loosen up the spine and work on core. As we come into our tabletop position, place our palms under our shoulders, knees under our hips. We'll start to curl the head and the spine up as we inhale and exhale, curl down. And as we do that, feel the palms pressing, the thumb, index, middle fingers pressing. And see if you can still connect with the deep breathing we started with, even though you're moving in through the spine. Now let's come back into tabletop position and move the shoulders and the hips and the head, loosening up the shoulders and neck. Good. And then let's now roll the rib cage around just like we did seated and change directions. Beautiful. Let's open up our shoulders by bringing our hands wide and pressing our forehead down and opening up and through the shoulders and chest and letting the hips stay up over the knees. Keep the spine long. The knees can come out wider. If you are more flexible, you can press your chest down. Feeling the stretch underneath the arms. And then let's slowly work our way into child pose extended. So let's push our hands back, press our feet, our hips back to our heels as we drop the forehead down. And you can try this today as we work on opening in through the chest and shoulders. Try, if you have blocks, try taking 2 blocks for each hand. And as you push your hips back into your heels, let the knees come apart a bit to open the hips. And what it does as the knees are apart, it helps the lower back from curving as much. And try to push the blocks forward as you press the tailbone back, and you can relax the forehead down to the floor. It may not touch the floor, and that's okay. And then you can even come up on the fingertips here. So it's a really big stretch in through the shoulders, in through the spine, and back in through the hips. And again, feel the breath as it fills up the lungs in the front and the back and the sides. So you'll feel the pressure of the belly pushing into your thighs, maybe. If your belly touches his thighs, it may not, and that's okay. And now let's curl back up onto your hands and knees. And then we're going to try to balance by bringing the left leg up and the right arm up. And then breathe and hold and see how still you can keep your spine as you breathe, and still noticing the breath. Now, thumb is up. Try to roll that right shoulder back and keep the neck long, and try to pull in the lower abdominal muscle so you're not letting the lower belly sag. All right. And then slowly lower the right hand and left knee down. Take a breath. Inhale, tabletop. And then exhale, take the right leg and left arm up and hold. Keep pushing down in the thumb, index, middle finger of that right hand. Push away, push down and away into the floor. See how still you can be. Keep open in through. So try not to let the shoulder come up to the left ear. And keep pushing the right shoulder down and back, away from the ear. Squeeze that right glute tight as you push back with the right heel. And then lower down. Good. Take a breath and bring the hands forward a few inches. We're going to take down dog. Tuck the toes under. Lift the knees up slowly and push the head back towards the toe. And then start to bend one leg at a time to stretch out in through the calves. Keep it gentle. And the feet, stretching the toes. Keep pushing firmly down into the floor, like push the floor away from you. Don't squeeze your neck and keep the shoulder blades down and back away from the ears. Engage the inner arm. Engage the underarm muscles. Now come up onto the toes, bend your knees. Keep pushing the floor away. And then bring the heels down as far as they can go, but keep that length you created just now in the spine. Keep the neck long. And then let's walk the hands and feet together. Feet hip width apart. Feet are parallel to each other. Now see how close your belly can get to your thighs, so you can bend your knees a lot here. Okay. And you can interlace the arms. So relaxing your neck and shoulder, allowing gravity to help you loosen in this inversion, being upside down. Hinging forward from your hips. You can relax, move your body side to side. You can shake your head yes, shake your head no. Think of rolling away your outer thighs, push down into the big toe mound and the pinky toe mound, and lift up and through your insteps. Now, as you exhale, let your arms hang and just roll up from your spine. Just take a moment to roll up. Keep breathing on your way up. And then once you come all the way up, bring your hands forward and up. Palms facing each other into this extended mountain pose. Relax your neck, keep it long. Think of reaching up with the pinky fingers. Right. Now tighten your legs. We're going to stretch our side. And first we're going to try like we're reaching up, climbing up a rope. And as you do this, feel like you're really pushing down your feet as you climb up this rope, and your quadriceps and thigh muscles and glutes are contracting. And see how much you can lift that rib cage up out of your hip sockets. Good. Now, take both arms up again. Look up if it's comfortable or look straight ahead and tighten your thighs into this standing back extension. Don't collapse in through your lower back. So keep lifting up. Keep pushing the tailbone forward so that you can lift in and up through the rib cage. Good. Now, exhale and squeeze the upper back. Good. And then inhale up and then straighten up. And then exhale, lower your hands down to your heart center and try to stand with your two big toes touching. Take this off so that you feel like you have one leg. Okay. If this is uncomfortable, you can go hip width apart, but see if you can press your two big toes together and spread out all of your other toes, including your pinky toe. And feel all four corners of the feet. Now, with your hands in gratitude mudra, just feel your mountain posture. Okay. Good. One more breath. And then relax. And if you have a block, go ahead and use it. We're going to do a salutation with a block in between the thighs. And if you don't have a block, try to imagine that you do have a block. I'm going to just change this screen just a tad. So we're going to go slow. So we're not going to do one breath. So you normally, a salutation is one breath each pose, which is vinyasa, right? So instead, we're going to take each one a few breaths and just really think about all these little muscles working to support our body. Now, first starting in mountain pose with a block in between the thighs. So you feel the inner thigh pressing, contracting into the block. The quadriceps are engaged. And we're going to inhale, sweep the hands forward and up. Good. And then as you exhale, bring your hands to your hip sockets. Put your thumbs at the crease of your hip sockets. Push back. Keep breathing. Push back into your hips with your thumbs and grab that flesh and pull it away outward as the body hinges forward from the hips. Okay? Into your forward bend. Good. Keep breathing. If you need to bend your knees, do so to support your hips and back. Now, what we're going to do is just put below the knees, push below the knees, and bring your body parallel to the floor as if you're doing plank or a deadlift. Okay, push into the ball of the foot. Keep lifting the block up. Good. And breathe. And then as you exhale, come forward again, all the way down as far as you can go, and maybe take another block if you need to hold on to something. And keep trying to think of pressing the block up to the ceiling and opening up through the outer hips. Good. Now we're going to come into plank. So try to step back with the block, if you have it, into your plank and hold that plank. Press that floor away from you, shoulders down and back. Good. And breathe here. Good. Keep pressing that floor away. Keep the legs strong and don't drop the hips below the shoulders or drop the knees down. That's fine. Good. Now, as you exhale, come all the way down to the floor. Tighten your legs. And then just take cobra or push into up dog. Your choice. And notice how strong your legs are as you work in these positions with the block in between the leg as you take down dog. Keep breathing and feel the polarities you're creating energetically in the body. Imagine that someone is taking your hip bones, your hips, grabbing you by the hips and lifting them upward. Okay, so down dog can really help you lengthen out the sacrum and help with some pain there. And it's a good pose to strengthen the neck and shoulder area. We're going to come forward again, so we'll come up onto your tippy toes. And you can just tiptoe your way forward to your hands. And then bring your hands below your knees, come up halfway. Hinging from the hips, shoulders back. And then on your next exhale, come into a forward bend. And on this forward bend, let yourself relax a little bit more and bring your hands behind you and stretch your wrists up high to the sky. And breathe here. Now we're going to add on a chair pose to this sequence. So lower your hands down and bring your hands back onto your hips and drop your hips down as you bend your knees. So push your hips down and back. And then keep that body nice and neutral. Okay, not rounded. Press the knees back behind the toes. A lot of times I have people pick up their toes to make sure they're not putting pressures on the toes. And then reach forward and up with your hands. If you can, some people will say bring your thighs down parallel to the floor. That's not necessary. It's more about stretching the spine and strengthening the legs. And then breathing. Still feel all four corners of the feet. Try not to put pressure on the lower back. Engage your abdominal muscles. And then as you inhale, just push down into those legs. Inhale. And then exhale, back extension. Squeeze the upper back as you try to press the block forward. Nice. Keep breathing. And then slowly rise up. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart center. And we're still going to work with a block here, but I'm going to turn around and face you for side bends. So as you inhale, take your hands forward and up and take your right wrist and push your right hip out to the right, right rib cage out to the right as the body comes sideways. And keep pushing the floor away from you. So keep pushing down the floor away from you as the ribs come up and over to the left. If you cannot straighten your arms out like I am, just do the best you can to stretch the shoulders, or you could bring your hands back onto the hips. And keep the quadriceps tight, pulling the kneecaps up. Keep pushing down into the heels and the ball of the feet. And then slowly come up, inhale, exhale. Other side, left arm up. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, lean to the right. As the hips are stretching, keep pushing down into the left foot and the right foot. Notice my head is resting in between the arms. I'm trying to keep it relaxed. This may not work for you. Just do the best you can to stretch out your arms and keep the neck neutral. And still squeezing the buttocks muscles, not too hard, just enough to keep them activated. And then slowly come up, inhale. Exhale, open up again through the chest and the heart. Good job. And then now let's bring the elbows together and bring the elbows down to your knees. And stretch that back behind you, the shoulders behind you, the neck. This time, take the block out. And then take your arms behind the calves. You might need to bend your knees a lot. Tuck your chin to chest. We're stretching the back here, and then we're going to come down. Come back down into a low lunge, and I'll turn to the left side here. So let's come up again halfway, this time without the block. Push below the knees, bring the body up halfway. And then we'll exhale, come down and step the right leg back into a low lunge. And you can use like a pillow for knee support if you need that. And then start to lift up into low lunge. Your hips are even. Your knees and feet are in line with your hips. And then we're going to work on twists. So what we're going to do is spiral the ribs to the left, but we're going to try not to turn the hips and the knees. So feel first how solid you can get in your base. So the knee is grounded, pressing down. The left foot's pressing down like you're trying to move them together. And then you're going to just twist to the left. Feel the inner thighs contracting. That right buttocks really contracts. Breathe here as you look back at your left thumb. Good. Now, taking the left hand into a half bind, right arm straighten up. Stretching the right side. And see if you can take a prayer twist. So take the right elbow across your left thigh. If not, you can just take your hand here or see if it'll drop down and push into your thigh for a deeper twist. And then tuck your back toes under and see if you can pick up your right knee. Good job. Now from here, we're going to come out. We're going to unwind, lower the hands, and then coming into pyramid out of this position. So we're going to slide the back foot in. So the feet are about 3 feet away from each other. And then you can take the blocks as high as you can to see how straight you can get both legs. Okay. Good. Now, here we're trying to pull in and up the inner thighs and get the hip bones even. So the right hip is in line with the left hip, sacrum. Trying to keep the sacrum nice and even, no twist. So one side doesn't lift up higher than the other. And we're still pushing into that back heel. So you want to step in a way that you can push back into that right heel. You'll notice that you might loosen up as you hold and breathe. We never want to come fully into a stretch. If we come too deep, we won't breathe well and our body will start to want to protect itself. Okay? So we want to, in yoga, get our energy flowing and get the tension moving, the stress and tension moving, and to get like dormant muscles and dormant cells energized. Okay, so that's why it's so important to breathe, however you do your yoga, to always never go so intense that you're not breathing well. So yoga is a purification practice. Purification isn't only just about, fitness or body structure or bones. It's everything. It's all wellness. It's holistic. Good. And now notice what you're stretching. This is a big hamstring and IT band stretch. And notice there's two ways to do this. You can just keep your back parallel and neutral to the floor and pressing that hip back. And this is a real popular way, popular style, because from this position you can take the reverse or um, the revolving triangle. Or you can take forehead to knee and bend for me, I have to bend my front knee because of my back situation. Some people are able to keep the legs straight and take forehead to knee. Okay. But let's come back into this neutral position and let's practice revolving triangle since we're already set up for it. So try to, well, let's start by taking your thumb again into your left hip socket and move that muscle outward and notice how it helps to lengthen the torso. So we want to lengthen and then step as best you can to tighten your base up. So you're just going to turn the rib cage. Okay. Now, your right hand can either be right under your shoulder with your block or fingertips, or you can cross it over. Some people have such an open twist, they can cross over the hand as you extend left arm. Okay. And just keep on trying. This is actually developing a lot of core muscles. And it's so hard not to, it's so hard to not, the hips want to help you twist. So just notice that. There's nothing wrong with it. You're just trying to work the rotation of the rib cage without having the hips involved. And you don't want to torque those hips either to help out. Okay, come on down. How did you do? We're going to just simply step together, okay, and relax. Take a moment to relax. We're going to bend the knees and curl up. And inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart, center. And let's get that other side. Inhale, stretch up again. Exhale, swan dive out and down from your hips, all the way down. Halfway up, inhale. Exhale down, take the left foot back into your low lunge. And line yourself up. So lining yourself up again is making sure you can feel the heel pressing down so your knee doesn't come forward so far. It can come forward, but we're really going to do a lot of core activation. So try not to let the knee come forward so far. Okay. So the rule is when the back knee is down, the front knee can come forward a little bit. It's not going to hurt it. But we're going to focus more on core and spine. You'll still get that stretch in between the legs and hip flexors. It won't be quite as much as if you let that knee come forward, but that's okay. Because we're going to open up the chest and the body as we reach up, okay? And then we're trying to, so this is a lot of core work we're doing today. It's not, everything is core we've done so far. We're pulling in and up the ribs, down with the tailbone. We're feeling like the tailbone's pressing forward, squeezing the glutes. And then the right hand comes down and around, looking back over the shoulder. And then from here, we'll go ahead and take the twist. So either bring the hands back. Let's start here. Now, realign your hips. Okay, so keep noticing the knee is pressing down in towards the front foot. The front foot presses back in towards the knee to really try to bring stability as you rotate the ribs. And then from here, if you want to either just put some traction into the leg to twist more here with the hand down or take it into the prayer twist. Okay. And then from here, tucking the back toe under. Now here's where the knee never comes forward. Is when the back knee comes off the floor. Because that's where it's going to put a lot of pressure in through the kneecap if you bring the kneecap forward. So you always want to keep that knee over the heel of the foot. Okay. To protect the kneecap. Okay, a lot of energy into this position. Try to be as stable and still in the hips and legs as possible and start to spiral the spine. And I'm pushing my hands together and pushing traction into that thigh. Good, let's come on out. Okay, let's take your pyramid. Slide the back foot in about 3 feet away from that right foot. Now, the heels are really pressing down. Push into that back heel, up. You're trying to get the weight, you're trying to be as light as you can in that front leg. So the more you press back, the more that left hip will come forward as well. Lengthen out the right side. Relax. If you want to take again the forehead to knee pose for a few breaths, you can. Bending the front knee, coming down a little more, changes the stretch. And the reason why, if you have a back condition like me, you can tell by looking at my back that I have scoliosis. You'll have to adjust for that tightness, and that's why I bend the knee, even though I'm really flexible in my hamstrings compared to a lot of people. So from here, well, go ahead and try that revolving triangle. Okay. So let's see how it goes. So now we are going to really straighten out the spine, bringing it into a neutral spine, meaning that it's not flexing. Shoulders back the best you can. Getting the legs as long and straight as you can. If you need to bend that front knee, do it because you don't want to hurt yourself. Maybe your blocks aren't high enough. Okay, maybe you're really tall with long legs and you need a little extra support in your blocks. And, another way to do it is have a chair handy and use a chair. I demonstrate a lot of that in my chair and my yoga standing for balance and posture class on Wednesday morning at 10:30. All right, let's see how we are twisting on this side. Bring your thumb into the crease and start to pull that skin back as you turn the rib cage. So it helps you realize, okay, we're keeping the hips as steady as possible and turning the rib cage. Good. Left hand is down under your shoulder and it pushes into the earth as the right hand pushes up to the sky. And breathe the best you can here as you open up in through the shoulders, just like turning the rib cage. Okay, okay. We're going to come on down. And this time, instead of coming forward, we're going to come back onto your hands and knees. And then stretching your knees and your ankles will sit onto your feet or in between your feet, or you can sit on a block, okay, with the knees together, okay? So decide what's better for you for that stretch as we calm down. We're gonna, next position, we'll we'll sit in a straddle to open up the hips. So we did a lot of outer hip work and some hip flexor opening, hamstring work. Just breathe again. Try to come back to the breath that we started with in class. Let's turn around and sit down. So going slow like that really is strengthening the core so much. So notice how tired and fatigued your body is feeling after all of that work. Okay. And then honor it by breathing and relaxing. All right. Now here, as we sit into straddle, I'm sitting without something under my hips. If you cannot sit straight up from your hip sockets, you'll need to sit up on something higher, like a bolster or a block. And then again, try to move that skin out from underneath of you. Try to tighten your quadriceps and push down. Now, for some people, if you have pain underneath the knees, sometimes this is so helpful. And this is just putting in some blocks or pillows under the knees can make a huge difference to opening these tight muscles in between the legs without injuring the back of your knee. Because sometimes sitting up on some height still isn't enough. Okay. So find out what works for you and then start to move forward. If you can't move forward, just sit upright. All right. And one rule of thumb is you want to be able to sit upright and engage your core as you push down with your legs. I'm going to go ahead and take this out. Okay. And if you feel like this is really strenuous, go ahead and put another pillow or two underneath your sit bones. Realign, pull the skin back, the glutes, that's the skin we're talking about, is the buttocks muscles. And try to feel those sit bones press down and try to even engage all of these inner thigh muscles and push down into the floor, into the earth. Good. All right. Now, if you can come forward, you're trying to move those hip bones forward. If they don't, if they're a little stuck, just stay upright. All right. And just keep breathing. And see if something softens. So we don't want to be so hard that we can't soften. So don't be too into a contracted isometric contraction mode. Try to soften and you'll know by how you breathe, right? It's all about, again, drawing your awareness back into the breath, tuning back into your body. You have to know how you like that revolving triangle. I think that's one of the harder positions to hold. And um, so thank you for showing up today and working on it. And we just took our time with it. We just took our time, spent some time with it, got to know it. A lot of teachers avoid teaching it. It's not an easy pose to teach. We're going to slowly come up, take a breath, and then lean back and bring those legs together. Okay. And then let's come down and we're going to do a restorative twist today. So we'll take a pillow or a vulture. We'll sit with your knees to the right, and the bolster is pressing on your left thigh. And then you're going to just turn your rib cage, lengthen your spine over the bolster, and just turn your head to the right and relax. So we're going to relax our nervous system, our shoulders. So your head faces your knees. The left side of your rib cage is on the bolster as your knees are turned towards the right. And just let your neck and shoulders relax. Take some deep breaths. And then just soften your lips, your jaw, your nose, your mouth. So what we're training now is bringing restoration back into the body after all of those intense standing postures. So balancing the sun and the moon energies. This is a moon type yoga posture, restorative posture. And the moon is symbolic for rest and healing. Hmm. Now, on the next inhale, let's slowly push down and up onto your hands and knees. Turn your knees over to the left now. Take your time. So the knees face the left. My left leg just kind of stacks on my right instep. I'm not really fussy about how your legs are. They can be as comfortable as what's right for your body. There's different ways to bring your legs in this position. Bring your bolster into your hip. So it kind of goes down a little bit into my thigh. And then start to turn the rib cage. So you're trying to bring the heart in line with the bolster. As you come over the bolster, lengthen and then turn your head to the left and then relax here. And notice how this side feels. So you'll be looking to your left. Your right side will be mainly down into the bolster. Shoulders relaxed here. Sometimes people need 2 or 3 bolsters or pillows for this resting position. These restorative twists sometimes need a little bit more height. Again, it depends on your hips, your spine, how tall you are, how mobile you are. And coming back to that nice deep breathing, feeling the rib cage expand as you inhale and soften as you exhale. Good. And we will slowly work our way back up, chin down. And if you ever want to do these at home, this type of position, this is a restorative position. You could actually take these stretches for like 5 or 10 minutes. Now we're going to do a neutral. So we just did a rotation. So now let's neutralize the spine. I'm going to do another relaxing position. I'm going to put a block down and then my bolster on top to support the neck. Sit down in front of the bolster, and then this will bring us into a neutral spine resting position for the body. So we'll do our final relaxation pose. Soften your eyes, nose and mouth. Soften again through the neck and the shoulders. And breathe in a relaxed way. So let your body breathe for you. So not trying to do any breath control now. Just let it be natural, but notice again how the body responds to its natural breathing. And again, this is another position that can be held 5 to 10 minutes if it's comfortable. The thing about these restorative postures, they need to be comfortable. Otherwise, they could be and if they're too intense or uncomfortable, it can do the opposite of restoration. Now we're going to stretch our arms over your head and your toes away from you. And then we'll slowly come up. Take your time, just push down the pelvis and come back into your seated position that we started with. And again, notice how you're breathing. Namaste. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you for being here with me this morning. Bye, everybody. Oh, hi, Kira.